I was feeling really sad, and then Luke was walking over, and he saw me, oh my gosh, and then you gave me a hug, didn't you?
How is it?
Yeah, you gave me a hug. Oh. Oh, geez. But he gave me a big hug, and that made me feel a lot better.
The Micah program is the only special education program for a Catholic school in the state of Nevada.
Micah was designed to help students with special learning needs. The name Micah comes from a prophet in the Hebrew scriptures when Micah tells us this is what Lord wants of us, to act justly, help your neighbor, walk humbly with your God. Micah program does just that.
The program started with one student, Luke Silvestri.
We had already had 4 children go through St. Vitus. We wanted Luke to have that same experience.
When we designed the Micah program, we intentionally designed it as an inclusion program. We want the students to be in the classroom with their typical peers.
These kids are part of this class and a part of this.
From top down, the message is Luke's part of the class, Luke's part of the school, Luke's part of the community.
I don't see these Micah students any different than any other student in my school. Each student has potential. Each student grows. Each student progresses each year. And all these students do is show us what they're capable of every day.
I have a son named Emery DeCania. He is 11 years old. Emery started when he was in 1st grade. Most private schools do not have a space for kids with different abilities. Because of his epilepsy, he felt his difference from his peers in his last school so significantly that he retreated into himself. The community of children and families at that school didn't have a space to embrace my son. He was ridiculed and made fun of, was cornered in the boys' bathroom and beaten up. I felt guilty dropping him. I would feel bad dropping him off because I knew he was scared and didn't want to go. So when he started 1st grade here, I was very anxious about that process, but it saved his life.
Last year when we decided to take on a new student, we did some scouting and we went to pick the new student, and that was Amanda. We said, let's go see her in her classroom. And it was the most heart-wrenching experience ever. I saw her with a teacher who didn't know her name, and they were transitioning into recess. When she walked out, not one person from the general education classroom acknowledged her. Nobody even saw her. She was invisible to them. Someone asked me, what is the biggest difference between your school and another school? These kids are put up on a pedestal.
When we began this program, I was thinking of what we could do for the Micah students, and with a big surprise what they do for us, what expectations they've given us. Micah students bring out our better angels.
You're thinking that I'm going to help this child, but they're teaching us more than just anybody else could.
I look at the classes that have Micah students in them, and those students go out of their way to be kind, to be helpful. In fact, I see students who aren't even in a class with a Micah student that will go out of their way to say, hi Luke, hi Amanda.
The program, it's teaching my boys personally that to be more kind. They want to help out. They want to be a team with these kids. It makes them better people. It gives them softer hearts.
I've heard the word tolerance be used. That's not a word that I prefer for a couple of reasons. One, because to tolerate means almost to put up with. And I would hope that my son is not just put up with. I don't believe that Emery's friends tolerate him. I believe that Emery's friends care about him. So Emery wants to play video games like every other kid. And there are games that they can play where they connect online, but there's a reading portion to it. And he wasn't able to do that. And his friends, his 2 closest friends, they FaceTime through iPad, they put on the games on their laptops, and they tell him what is being written so that he can play with them. That's not tolerance. That's love.
I think Luke has changed a lot of hearts. We write in our brochure, and we talked about when we were putting the program together how important it was for Luke to be in this inclusion program and to be with his typical peers, because we know that that's how children with intellectual disabilities learn best. But at the same time, we knew that Luke was going to have an equal, if not greater, impact on the rest of the community.
Because that little boy is changing hearts, and he's teaching empathy, and that's not something that we can put in a lesson plan.
Yeah, I've known Luke since, like 5 to 6 years. I love being with him, and he makes me smile.
It's great having Luke on our team. It's just nice seeing him play and having experience with us playing basketball. He plays a really important role in our team. So
Luke's just like everybody else in our class.
He is so caring and loving and understanding to other people, and I just learn from that.
I'm here every day for Luke.
Every teacher at the beginning of the school year is nervous about their incoming class. And when you see you have a Micah student coming in, that adds a new dimension of kind of apprehension.
And there's always a little bit of nervousness, I think, when you're a trailblazer. I mean, we're trailblazing. I mean, there's no other program like this in the state of Nevada.
Having Luke in my class has changed my attitude toward the Micah program. Now that I see that these special needs students can offer so much, not necessarily just academically, but in the overall kind of treatment of all people, it has been a great addition to our school.
It benefits the teachers, because I think sometimes we kind of fall into maybe the idea that all the students are the same. But with Luke and with children like him, I think that it kind of makes us step back and remember they all have their needs. Luke has, of course, special needs, but all of the students have their needs, and I think that that's what it does for the classroom teacher.
When you watch them learn and see how excited they are, when you see them having a bad day and a middle school student stops and helps them out.
These children are angels sent to us to teach us. They test us. They make us think out of the box. They test us and make us think, okay, how am I going to deal with this? When they just love life and they just go through life with a smile.
We are special. We are absolutely special. And while we have special children, all they've done is shown us the possibilities and again made us better people.
If I had one wish for the Micah program, it would be that we could accept everybody that comes knocking at our doors, because we do have to turn people away because we don't have the resources to provide services to them all.
We have a ton of students that are on a waiting list that would love to come to our school. I think the waiting list is over 10 students right now, and we just don't have the money to provide the services for them.
I think as a Catholic community, as a Christian community, our concern for those who are in need, for those who need our prayers the most, for those who need our financial support the most, and just being there. We see this all the time. Here at the school, the Micah children need us. Their families need us. And in that sense, it's an easy thing to do. We want to do it. And they've changed us with their behavior to be a more gentle, more giving community.
We gotta really, really look at these kids for the great parts of them. Not focus on the negative, but number 2, show the growth. There's nobody else in the school that's shown more growth than these Micah students. They've moved mountains, and they're changing hearts.
Yes, I definitely think that we're gonna be friends forever.
How is it?
Yeah.